AIM, Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition, was founded with the aim of tackling human suffering caused by malnutrition. Over the past 20 years, they have been working with governments, businesses and civil society to transform food systems so that they can deliver more nutritious foods for all people, especially the most vulnerable. GAIN was created with a laser focus on tackling malnutrition through fortifying staple foods. 20 years on, they retain the focus on nutritious foods as their contribution to ending malnutrition, but they have expanded the scope of their work in two ways. Firstly, they focus on a much wider range of nutritious foods: vegetables, fruits, pulses, eggs, nuts, dairy, fish and other animal-sourced foods. All are important to healthy diets in various contexts. Secondly, they focus on the full range of joined-up food system interventions in food growing, storage and transport, processing, marketing, advertising and preparation. They aim to make nutritious and safe foods accessible to everyone, especially the most vulnerable. To help end hunger and attain healthy diets for all, in ways that are good for the environment. Partnerships are fundamental to their work. They work with and connect governments, development agencies, businesses, small, medium and large, civil society, and consumers, everyone who has a part to play in making safe and nutritious foods easier to get, more affordable, and preferred over unhealthier foods. GAIN, Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition, has offices in 5 African countries, namely, Ethiopia, Kenya, Mozambique, Nigeria and Tanzania. GAIN has been working in Nigeria since 2012. At the beginning, their work focused on large-scale food fortification. In recent years, they have diversified their activities to include targeted dietary improvement programs such as better diets for children, post-harvest loss reduction, and support to businesses through the Scaling Up Nutrition Business Network. The country director, Michael Ojo, and his team has been working round the clock to make every inch of the organization's vision come true. Over the next 5 years, their work will target Nigerians who are affected by malnutrition, especially women of reproductive age, pregnant women and nursing mothers, adolescent boys and girls, as well as infants and young children below the age of 5. They will make targeted investments in the areas of large-scale food fortification of staple foods for the delivery of essential nutrients and vitamins to large populations. Reducing post-harvest loss to minimize food waste. Encourage dietary diversity and ensure the availability of nutrient-dense fresh foods all year round. Promote better diets for children to ensure increased consumption of animal source foods by children. And support private sector engagement and government initiatives to develop and implement policies aimed at improving better nutritious and safe food for all. The project manager, Mercy Alarunfemi, and her team with Dr. Ikeola of Ibadan office assured the audience at the just concluded at Kakanfo Hotel in Ibadan that they will continue to create awareness on their activities through advocacy and top-notch skills cum knowledge transfer on the entire product's value chain. The event was a quality time well spent. Kudos to the organization.
On this project, this is my seventh visit to Oyo State this year, and we've been supported by a lot of Yedela, who has been there pushing us and ensuring that things goes according to plan. So thank you very much to her. Please wave now so we can see you. Thank you. We also have our extension officers from Oyo West, Isheyin, Afijo, and Ido. Please, a big round of applause for them as well. We have retired director from Agriculture, Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Iroko Ibukun. A big thank you to her. She actually started this journey with us before she retired. but I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for how far we have come, regardless. We also want to thank Oye Sada, who's represented by the Director General here. So a big thank you to Yesada. Yesada has been equally supportive. They have been with us from the beginning, and we hope that we can strengthen our relationship before we proceed. And also a thank you to all the speakers that are here for this event. Alright, so it seems like this would not come up, so I will just freestyle this. Please permit me to go ahead. Is that okay? Yes, okay. I'm happy that some of us already know the situation. So my name is Mercy Olorunfemi. I work. GAIN is a Swiss foundation that was started in 2002 at the UN. And we started operating in Nigeria since 2012. GAIN is an organization that was set up to mitigate and solve some of the problems caused by malnutrition. That's closely linked to agriculture. There is no food without agriculture, and that is why we are working closely with agribusiness and customer SMEs on this project. I just realized that I don't have So please, priority statements. The project was launched last year in your state, but before we came here, we actually launched this project nationally. It was launched with people representing the governor. I think we had the Commissioner of Agriculture in Abuja. We also had Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Trade and Investment, Minister of Health, and other ministers who were present with us on this. Since then, it has been really interesting. As we know, the project is focused on people at the bottom of the pyramid. Hence, we actually had to come and do the launch in the States. And so in the States, we launched the project in November with people from Ishain, Apijo, Ido, or Your West. That was last year. I'm going to go through the objectives. Can we all see this now? Is it clear? The slide presentation, can we all see it? Okay, great. By smallholder farmers, their families, and the wider population. What we also want to do again is to strengthen the cassava base, potato, and rice value chains. One of the things that we have noticed is that for most of the farmers that are farming these foods, they don't consume what they eat. So most people would rather sell the best produce, and keep the one that is not so great for their families to consume because they want to make profits. However, that is not really good because with that, they are not getting the best nutrition, they are not eating healthy, and at the end of the day, it becomes a greater problem for their health later on in the future. So this is one of the things we want to correct. One of the ways we can strengthen the capacity of these people. We also want to increase the nutritious varieties of these target staples across the states that we're working in. Again, for most products that exist, and on these products, there are nutritious varieties of these products. For example, for cassava, there is vitamin A cassava. Do we know vitamin A cassava? How many of us know vitamin A cassava? Do we know the orange first sweet potato? So that is the nutritional variety of the potato you and I consume. So that is one of our goals, and also to work on the vitamin A variety of the maize product as well. The last one is to improve productivity and efficiency of farmers and other business to improve their production. For this project, we are working closely with GIC. The GIC is the Green Innovation Center, which is a project by GIZ, by the German government. And so what we are doing is to look at this crop that I just mentioned or just alluded to from a nutrition lens, which is basically what we are trying to do. Under this project, there are three components. You have biofortification, you have business support, and workforce nutrition.
We are getting there. Omo Badonlemi, and I want to bring the spirit out because I'm looking at these faces and I'm feeling, is this really Ibadan? So let's start the Ibadan way. I know Mercy has downloaded to us a lot of information, and sometimes this information can be a bit overwhelming. So let's start the Ibadan way. Omo Ibadan Guinea soup. All right, we are getting there. Okay, so my name is Tomi Odumbaku. And like I said, I grew up in Ibadan. I left Ibadan 2017, and it's good to be back. And so today, Mercy has given me an assignment to introduce to you a network that is very important for businesses. And very soon, I'll be taking you through what SBN is, what we are about, how do we support businesses, and what is our strategic priority areas, that is, what is our focus. I'll also tell you what our vision is, what do we want to achieve with businesses. And lastly, I'll tell you how you can be part of this network and the benefits you will get from joining. I'm not going to present because I will make sure that you understand everything I want to say here. So I'll start. SBN, as we usually call it, is an acronym that stands for Scaling Up Nutrition Business Network. I know you did not hear me. So I want you to look at your neighbor beside you that is writing. Tell the person to stop. Now I'll say it again, and you say it after me. SBN stands for Scaling Up Nutrition Business Network. Can we go now? Okay, that one was rowdy, but can we say SBN? Thank you. Because when you come to my table later, if you say SBM, I will send you somewhere else. So it's SBN. And what do we do? So it's an arm of a movement. Now we have a global movement called Sun. The same sun that is shining on us. But this time, it's spelled S-U-N, but it means scaling up nutrition. That is the movement. And that movement has 6 arms. 6 different arms that work collaboratively to improve nutrition globally. So I'll name the different arms now, and I'll tell you more about just the business network.
While requesting for an opportunity to stand on the protocol that has been established already. So this is a keynote address delivered by Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture and Rural Development, Oyo State, Honorable Niyi Adebisi, on the occasion of Agribusiness Innovation Clinic, organized by Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition, GAIN, at Kakanfo Inn and Conference Center on the 15th of November, 2020. I'm highly delighted to deliver the keynote address on this Agribusiness Innovation Clinic, which is designed to provide a platform for the engagement of critical stakeholders across and beyond the value chain to improve supply chain efficiency, for the availability of nutritious food, for those at the bottom of the pyramid. It is a fact that a nation that cannot make nutritious food available, accessible, and affordable to our citizenry all year round may be spending more on healthcare management, which can be avoided, while such money can be invested in another profitable venture. It's a matter of joy for me to note that GAIN trained over 500 farmers, processors, and aggregators, and empowered them by supplying inputs such as vitamin A, cassava cuttings, OFSP, orange flesh, sweet potato, vines, organic and broiler fertilizers, and herbicides to 110 farmers in the selected 4 local government areas, namely Afijio, Ido, Oyo West, and Isheyin of Oyo State in the past 2 months to strengthening nutrition in priority staples, which will increase the consumption of nutritious food by smallholder farmers, their families, and the entire populace, and also the use of nutritious varieties or target staples in processed food.
Entrepreneurs Channel TV, Africa's first gender-based television service. Yes! At Entrepreneurs Channel TV, our primary responsibility is promoting women entrepreneurs in West African countries. We also support women's well-being, share women's knowledge on a variety of subjects and topics, passions and opinions. Entrepreneurs Channel TV is on Intelsat 20. Our satellite coverage is within Africa, Europe, Middle East, Asia, North and South America. Opportunities abound for women-owned micro to small businesses, corporate bodies and organizations, and also government parastatals. For inquiries and advert placements, contact 0705 5053 843. Entrepreneurs Channel TV, rewriting Africa's story through enterprise Amazons.
The essence of this agribusiness innovation field is to innovate around solutions to improve the supply chain for nutritious food in Nigeria. And we know that if we are going to make progress, like we usually say, nutrition is everyone's business, right? And so all the components that make up the food system, that make up the supply chain network, all have to work together. And that's how we came up with this topic: supply chain, safe and nutritious food, improving cross-functional coordination among critical actors. And I believe you all are representative of that of cohort of critical actors. So it's good to have you all, ma'am. It is said that the food system supply chain is a complex network. We know that because not only is it complex, it is also plagued with so many bureaucracy that when you look at it, it becomes almost impossible to understand how the supply chain works. So I'll start with the first question on my list here. And please feel free at some point when I refer a question to anybody and you have an additional comment, you can also say more about the particular question. And for the audience, you might also want to introduce yourself a bit more when it's time to talk. So for the first question I have here, I want to give a background. We have about 3 million people in Ibadan, Oyo State. And I don't need to say too much. Not everyone have access to nutritious food. And we have an idea of what the factors responsible are. So I want to maybe just pick your brains. What are these factors that you think are responsible for the complexities and the inefficiencies of the food system? I can go first to say, because of our different cultural backgrounds, the way we approach the food system can affect how these things operate. But I want to hear from you who are professionals in this space. What do you think is the factor or are the factors? I'd like to start from you, Atinuke.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Atinuke, and I work with Cattle Foods. Cattle Food is a food processing company that we address malnutrition using staple crops that are biofortified. That means we use the vitamin cassava, maize, and orange flesh production. Okay, so back to your question. Now, for me, I would say that adaptability is one of the things that is actually very crucial, that people really don't want to adapt to new things, especially when it comes to about 45 crops. That is one of the things we are discussing today. People always tell you that it's different from the old cassava or the old thing that we are used to. So, and that is where, this is where training is coming, and we have to equip people. Then, people always have this notion that nutritious food is quite very expensive. So, and they feel that, this one that you are bringing this to us, they want it to be expensive. You're saying this and that. It's expensive, it's 100 naira more than what we are used to. Because to them, that 100 naira, especially for the BOPs, what they understand is affordability and quantity. They fail to realize that quality of what they need to eat is actually very important. So, and that is why we are all here as stakeholders to see how this affordability thing, and also they get the quantity, is also very important to BOPs. Thank you.
Eroko, do you want to add more to the factors that you think is responsible for this inefficiency?
Dr. Ibukolu Abosede Iroko. I just retired from Ministry of Agriculture. Here to represent Dr. Ashmira Baba, the team lead of GIZ. Okay. Concerning the complexity of the food system. The food system is complex because it's composed of so many other systems. Now you have the farming system, the waste management system, input supply system. You also have energy system, trade system, health system, transport system, all affecting the food system. And that is why it is very, very complex. I'll give an example. For example, the policy is made, and that policy made people to increase bound fuel. Definitely, it's going to affect the food system. That is why the food system is very, very complex. Thank you.
Director of ProTribe Acetyl Limited, the company that makes grandiose pap. Our pap is in dry form, which ensures convenience, extended shelf life, and also the greatest thing that we had to do when we came in contact with them again was to start producing our yellow pap with biofortified vitamin A maize. So our pap is also very nutritious, and you can find it on a lot of shelves all around the country. Now, in addition to what my co-panelists have said, I also see availability of those raw materials as a key restriction to accessing of nutritious food by the populace. Just like the earlier presentation that we heard, if you go to Baggy Market today or the market and you say you want to buy OFSP, it's just not there. You want to buy vitamin A maize, it is not just there. So the production in large quantity that will make it to be very available to the populace is not there. So just like law of demand and supply, since it is scarce, the price will also be high. So that's one of the other reasons why the price is high. Also, awareness creation. There has to be different awareness on the fact that when you eat nutritious food, the likelihood of you falling sick is reduced. So the little money that you use to eat that nutritious food, if you eat it, you will not spend so much money treating sicknesses. So that awareness, maybe through National Orientation Agency and other agencies, that do public service awareness, should be more different to ensure that we entrench nutritious food in our diet. And then also entrenchment through policies, national policies and standards. So for example, prior to a few years back, we just used to eat sugar. But then there was a standard that said sugar must be fortified with vitamin A. Salt must be fortified with iodine. So whether you like it or not, you're going to eat sugar. If you're putting salt in your food, the one you're going to buy in the market most likely will already contain iodine, which is good for goiter and other diseases that have been identified. So if vitamin A and other biofortification or nutrition is introduced as standards and enforced in Nigeria, it will ensure that people embrace biofortified products in their nutrition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm happy that as we begin to discuss this, some of the mitigation strategies are beginning to pop up. For example, you just mentioned the policy that went into play for compulsory fortification of specific food. And I know that when you don't have access to nutrients like iodine, you begin to see things like goiter on your neck. That's like the direct implication. C again. O. Again. All right. Then U. How do you do you now? T. Thank you very much. You've been an awesome audience. All right. Before we delve into the conversation. So we said here that food security exists when all people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food which meets their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. All of us in this audience will agree with me that that is not the situation in the country at the moment. Yes or no? Do we have food security in Nigeria? Please raise your hand if you think we do. I agree with you. And Oyo State is no less. So this critical situation, we want to discuss it. And my panel here will be doing justice. So please, as I ask the question, do well to introduce yourself, your department, and your specialty, and then you can answer the question. Nutrition insecurity on the long-term health and nutritional status of Nigeria.
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Folake Samuel from the Department of Human Nutrition and Dietetics, University of Ibadan. Your question is very interesting. I would like to first of all say that nutrition security is different from food security. It's a step ahead. So it's possible to be food secure and yet not be nutrition secure. Because nutrition security has to do with the utilization of the food. So even if you have economic, physical, and social access to the food, it's there, it's available, you can afford it, you bought it, you've cooked it, have you eaten it? Is there anything that is stopping the way you eat it or how it is served to you? Or is there anything disturbing how it is utilized by your body? So food is what we eat, but nutrition is what the cells actually receive. Until the cells receive it, then it is not yet nutrition. So that can lead us now to answer that question about what are the long-term effects of food and nutrition insecurity. There are so many. We start with the issue of growth and development in the child. We know that children who don't have adequate nutrition will not grow well, and that's why we talk about stunting, wasting, and underweight, micronutrient deficiencies, and all those things. And they can affect the way the brain develops. And if it does, it can affect how schooling is achieved, how education is attained, and how that person becomes productive in future. And we know that a country that is full of people who are not productive is a country that will have a low national income. So that is one long-term effect.
Ovo Ubebo, you can call me Ovo. I work for Ikore International. Ikore is a development consulting firm. I have a background in health as well. But I think Professor has done a really great job on this question. I would just probably add one or two things. It's important that we link nutrition to our human capital development. Professor has already talked about stunting and wasting and mental growth and all of that. And I think that is because there's a disconnect between how we handle nutrition and how we look at our human capital development. There are a few indices that should matter to us. Related diseases have led to a lot of mortality, as she implied. And in Nigeria, 2 million children suffer from severe acute malnutrition. And 45% of all under 5 deaths is linked to malnutrition. Imagine that if 100 children die today, 45 of them is linked to poor nutrition. And it's similar for women. Women suffer a lot of nutritional deficiency, and it's reported by the multiple indicator cluster survey that 51% of women within childbearing age are anemic, and that has far-reaching effect on a number of things. But bringing it down to the economics, stunting and wasting children and all of that is linked to a loss of 11% of our GDP. This is tied to productivity. If you don't have humans who are developed as a result of proper nutrition, we are losing. And it's until we make this link between the losses that we'll be able to take that collective actions that we need. Thank you.
And thank you for bringing out the critical numbers that shows how critical this is. 2 million children, you say. 2 million. And let's just pick that number. 2 million children. Nigeria, sorry, not Nigeria, Ibadan is the third most populous state in Nigeria after Kano, Lagos, right? Now, that's about 3.6 million people. Now, pick 2 million children. That's a lot. And we need to do something. That's very critical. Thank you very much.
The contribution of the first two people, I discovered that I don't need to really, let me just join them to say that what they had, the figures they are giving you, in fact, they didn't have the time to tell you the effects. And we cannot even have enough time to sit down here and tell you the effects of malnutrition. Everybody is feeling the effects. The effect is even on our behavior. Many people are misbehaving, and the government kept shouting, what's in Parawan, one Kosodo. Their behavior is being affected. The mental health can be traced to nutrition insecurity. It can be traced to food insecurity. Many Yorubas, they know that ebi ò kí ń wọnú, kí ọ̀rọ̀ mi ò wọ̀. So we should just don't deceive ourselves at all in Nigeria and think that we are okay. We are not okay. As far as the feeding of our children, the feeding of our mothers, adolescent girls, and ourselves, the adults, the workforce is being affected. I was with Ogun State Civil Service Commission. I said they should call everybody outside because this is not a matter of I'm signing one document. I have to make an advocacy. Stop everything you are doing. If you don't have money, call WHO. Let's start from your own room. Permanent secretary, have you taken breakfast today? She said no. Most of the others, they were busy. What is in your fridge? Empty. There is no fruit. There is nothing, no snacks. And she will not go to her home until 10 p.m. when the governor is going home. So people keep coming and going, and you sit down here. You are the workforce. The workforce is affected, and it's in the agenda of gain to improve the productivity of the workforce. Our workforce is affected, and it's a long-term effect. We are going to see it in our economy. We don't have the calculations here. But another long-term effect is even the intergenerational. Many women that are affected, they are managing. Ẹ ṣáà jẹ́ kí ìrora jẹ oúnjẹ ẹ̀kan ti tó. And she's pregnant too. And she's eating only once a day. Local estimates in 2021, after the COVID, shows that 77% in Nigeria cannot even boast of what they will eat. And 80% are worried. When people are worried, will they be mentally stable? It's a discussion, no? When people are worried, will they be mentally stable? They cannot be mentally stable. I was like, 80% are worried. I was in a place, I sat down. They brought some things, and all the children are so loud, they were clamoring, they want to collect their own. There was a child beside that particular thing. He didn't stand up. He said, what's happening to you? Can't you go for your own? No answer. He's coming from America. He's so comfortable. Come and see Nigerian children clapping on each other. I said, wow. And immediately it just occurred to me, food insecurity. He had never been exposed to food insecurity. His behavior has been in such a way that he knows he should not be looking for such things. In Nigeria, children, they look for food, which is a sign of food insecurity.
Can you introduce yourself and also respond to the first question?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Akode, Assistant Adebisi from Ministry of Health. I'm representing the Honored Commissioner for Health.
You're welcome.
I'm the Director in charge of Food, Water and Laboratory Services in the ministry. So, I want to look at this in another perspective. Maybe because I'm a field officer and I know what I know the reality of things. The reality is everywhere. Let me just start by saying that the vision of the Ministry of Health is to ensure that all individuals in the state is healthy by using preventive, promotive, and curative approach. In the when you hear Ministry of Health, we believe that everyone there must be a doctor or a nurse. That's not the case, There's an adage that says prevention is better and more cheaper than cure. And that is the very reason why most times the ministry believes in using preventive approach. And that is exactly what my own department deals with. While listening to Dr. Iroko, she defined what food security is. And I was wondering, I said, how safe is our food? If we are talking that, the definition says availability or blah, 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 safe food. How safe is our food? Even right from the farm, how safe is our food? Going along the food chain until it gets to the table, how safe is our food? Because I've seen a lot on the food, and I know our food goes through a lot. Processing, handling. Through all these processes, things get contaminated. At the end of the day, you realize that what you are even buying, you are not even buying what you paid for. You are buying something else with it. I can remember there was a time there was an issue at Ayeye Market where they sell foods. And the person was, we actually went there to warn. Later, we got wind that the person is still perpetrating that act. And we went there. And we apprehended, the lady was apprehended. You know what the person said? I have Baba Miku, so I needed this money so fast. Which brings me to the fact that poverty is a problem. What did the person do? The person used carbide, so ripen fruits. So if I should buy that fruit from the market, I would say, am I really safe?
Do you see any link between nutrition, agribusiness, the value chain and nutrition?
There's no way the people in the rural community can enjoy what they are doing if there are no off-takers, organized off-takers. They are used to working with traditional markets. But I want to say that all of us in this auditorium today, we can promote biofortified food. We can actually do that. I remember 2017 in Ondo State, the FECA, Federal College of Agriculture, introduced vitamin A Gary to the community, and I was part of the program. One of the speakers came out and told us all the benefits of vitamin A Gary. And when they were saying it, I made up my mind, I don't grow cassava. So when they were saying it, I said, okay, I looked at all the things they were saying, I said, okay, which space am I going to occupy in this value chain? And I made up my mind, I'm going to market vitamin A Gary. So after the event, I went to, maybe 2 days later, I approached the organizers and told them that I would like to offtake. I looked at the product. I know that vitamin A Gary might not be for the ordinary man on the street because of the price. So I said, who should I target? My first target were my friends abroad. I said, there's a Gary for your mom in Nigeria. And all of them were like, is it the one that we mix with palm oil? I said, no. I said, this is a bio-fortified vitamin A Gary that is good. At that time, I had a sick mom in the house, and I would buy the vitamin A Gary and cook for her. And after each meal, she would sleep off. So one day she called me and said, what do you put in your eba? I said, there's vitamin A there. And she said, please do it for me. So along the line, I was actually marketing vitamin A Gary in Ondo State. They were producing, I was buying, and I was pushing out to my friends in UK, in US, and some of them are buying for their parents in the village. But I saw it as a business, but the producer didn't see it as a business. They were just promoting the nutrition, all the fantastic things about, but I saw the potential in it. So as they saw that I was selling, and story started. We don't have enough. Can you come back? At the end of the day, the whole process was aborted. I couldn't continue to market the product. But I know that vitamin A Gary, it's a business. If you approach it as a business, we'll find out that it's very profitable. Most of the speakers that spoke today talked about prices. I want to say that it's cheaper to protect your health than to treat. If I'm sick today, I think vitamin A Gary in my house, that's what we eat. We eat it. If I want to sleep in the night, I'll go and soak it and drink it because I know it will help me to sleep. And I've been telling all my friends the same story, and the demand for it from my own sector is increasing on a daily basis. So I want to say that it's a business and we should approach it as a business.
Very much, Africa. My name is Godson Ohorogu, managing partner at Ikore. Obviously, there is a big link between nutrition and the value chain. Right, if you look at a typical value chain, right from the pre-planting to the end user, that is the farmer or the off-taker, all right, there are deliberate activities across each of those chains that target fortified products. So for instance, from your inputs, okay, your inputs might be looking at aflatoxin-free maize seeds, right? They may be looking at fortified seeds right from there. Okay, so value chains come up with that strategic and deliberate effort to make sure that right from the point of production, okay, even right from the point of the input, even to the production, and even storage, okay, the way and manner you store your fortified foods, your, every other kind of food you produce under that arrangement matter. Sorry. Because even if you don't properly store, okay, the outcome or output of that product might be dangerous for health and might even cancel whatever effort you were trying to put into producing a fortified food. Okay, and then what you eventually ship out is not what you plan to ship out right from the point of production. Okay, so the value chain is linked to what you bring out eventually. You being very, very deliberate and being targeted.
So I would like, Tommy mentioned something here, which I think everybody in the room here will be interested in. He said agriculture is a business. He said agriculture is a business. I wanted Kudira to say something else. Agriculture really a very risky business that people don't want to invest, and this affects nutrition. Do you see anything to that?
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Kudira to the Agri Development Finance of Jais Bank. Agriculture is not just the business, it is the future. it is like life encompassing in one, because regardless of what you are, whether human or not, you have to eat, whether animal or human. We all depend on food. Food is the most important part of human life. And agriculture, like she said, is also a business, and it's a very risky business. There's no sugarcoating it, there's no hiding behind anything. It is a risky business. We've had so many interesting discussions earlier today, and one thing that I have refused to, has not left my mind since she spoke about it, was climate change. Change is an important part of agriculture, that there's no value chain, no part of agriculture you're talking about that you will not have that under your point. Climate change. In recent times, we that stay in the north, we've understood in recent times the flood situation in the north, and unfortunately, I'm not predicting that, but it's going to affect the food supply in the coming years, especially next year. If we are not careful, if we don't have sustainability, if we don't have people that are venturing into, like what Madam said, feed yourself. What's one of our guys said? Feed yourself. We are going to be having a lot of food challenges in the coming year. So how you can't shy away from the fact that agriculture is risky, because you can decide to plant maize, for example, and then if you don't have the required amount of rainfall or something, and you will not have a proper yield, or if you have excess rainfall, you have your crops destroyed. So the only thing you can do to mitigate all these things is to have proper insurance. So from the financial point of view, whenever we try as much as possible for the sustainability of food security in the country, to finance most of all these farmers, small-scale farmers, micro-processors, just so that, when you see how much they are trying, and you want to extend certain finances to them to ensure that they have proper yield, they have proper growth. But one thing that we usually make sure is in place is the case of insurance.
How can climate change, how can we work on climate change? Because I know you are someone that deals with so much innovations. So what innovations do you think we can work around climate change to solve issues of malnutrition?
Yeah, thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. Had a great time sitting in the audience today. I'm not so much of an expert when it comes to agriculture, but I do a lot of innovation. I work with the Innovate UK, which is the UK government innovation agency. So speaking about climate change and how it connects to agribusiness and the value chain. So one key thing we need to know, which I would like to start from, is understanding what the value chain actually means and how climate change impacts the entire value chain. So I like to see it as the body system, the biology of your body, how one cannot function without the other. So you see, your business, from when you are even planting to when it gets to the table of those that's going to consume it. And you now need to look at what happened along the line. So you're talking about, increase in cost. You can align that to, impact of climate change. Because sometimes some of the things we use in terms of machines, sometimes we're talking about how can we reduce the kind of energy we use. We're having some conversation at IIT recently, with the fish farmers to say some of the machines you use in terms of producing your meal, can we actually look at some low, energy, machines? What are some of the things we use, for our practices on the farm? Looking at the carbon emission, how much are we contributing also to that? So one thing we need to look at as a farmer, as a business person, is actually the little things you do on the farm, the little things you do, even for those who maybe are into fishing, when you are smoking your fishes, what you are contributing. It might be little. We might not know, it's contributes something, but you know that you are doing like a lot damage, which actually coming at the end of the day. We can see it in terms of the flooding we are seeing. In Africa, I mean, when we talk about climate change in Africa, we really don't listen to it because we've not seen the impact, the huge impact, the same way they see in other countries where you see, people being taken away. But then gradually we are beginning to see that. But when we realize that the little I do, my little contribution to this is actually going to amount, to something big at the end of the day. So at that point, we need to think innovation. So when you are trying, to work on your farm, what kind of machinery are you using? When you are transporting, what you have, how are you transporting? How are you preserving? Some of those things we need to start thinking about. And we can't do that alone. We need to start engaging even people in the academia, in the research, to say, how can we actually reduce, our contribution, to climate, challenges, on the global stand. So as a country, it's something that we need to look at as an individual, as a group of persons, and as a state, because that eventually affects those on the farm when we have huge rain, when we have flooding, and when people can know it. But that starts from some of these things that we actually do.
Okay, so we'll go to your side. I would like to know what they are doing to ensure that the agricultural value, because they did.
I'm here to represent the Director General, Dr. Debo Akonde. So we are not running Akonde and Akonde PLC in Osaida. It is just a coincidence. I'm a civil servant, while he is a political appointee. And I'm the former program manager for Oyo State Agri-Development Program, that is the ADP. I want to tell you that in Osaida now, we are looking at agriculture as a business. And I want to say that when you look at agriculture or agribusiness and the nutrition, you will see that both they have one entry point, which is food. We want to produce food. The food is the output of agriculture, but it's the input for nutrition. And we don't want to just produce food, but we want to produce nutritious food, quality food. And when you talk about quality food, we talk about this fortified food, because agriculture is being practiced in the rural area where malnutrition is endemic, and we want to remove malnutrition. And I want to tell you that in Oyo State Agribusiness Development Program, we have what we call Start Them Early Program. The Start Them Early Program in education is we are targeting the secondary school pupils. We want to introduce agriculture to them as a business right from the secondary school. We want to change the perspective that they have, that agriculture is for those ones that cannot make medicine, that cannot make engineering, but you can make a living out of agriculture using ICT, using modular equipment for production and adding value to them. And I want to tell you that even among the pupils, or students, we already have them. They have their own business. They've developed their own business, and agribusiness entrepreneur in their own. We have about 18, and this one has affected even their family. They know that they can make money from it. It has improved their nutrition, the food they are taking, because they will take out of the food. Apart from that, we now also have where we have our agri-hub. What do I mean by agri-hub or farm estate? It is where you have the production, the processing, and the market, all in one place as a one-stop shop.
We've had COVID-19 some years back. We have dwindling resources from the federal reserves to states. What is Oyo State doing differently?
The program of this body, GAID, I have always been part of whatever they do. We started the program together at Abuja. I was telling her the other time I spent about 3 or 4 nights in Abuja when we went for the lunch the other time. In this part of the world, I mean Africa, food is as important as the air we breathe in. Whatever money you refuse to spend on food, you end up spending multiplied by 2 or 3 of such in taking care of your health. And Oyo State in particular, we have done a lot in the area of providing food for people. malnutrition is something that can give government a very bad image. When you enter into a state and you see malnourished children, within 1 or 2 minutes, you'll be able to measure what has been the impact of that state on what is happening around to the local people. We have promoted our local farmers, the smallholder farmers. We have supplied inputs. Apart from the COVID-19 relief, we have done so many relief packages. Just about 2 months ago, we gave our farmers inputs, and we have strengthened our extension departments. We've organized trainings for them because they are the ones to go to the local farmers and train them in modern way of farming in a way that will have surplus, most especially at the time we expect that the rainy season in particular, I mean dry season in particular, when farmers will not be able to do much in the farm. You know, in this part of the country, what we do here is quite different from what they do in the north.
Exactly.
In the north, irrigation is being promoted at a very high level there. We are just introducing such here, and since we have not started, we are trying our best in the area of supporting the local farmers to get more than enough during the rainy season. Then the silo government of Oyo State is trying to work on at Awe, the one I mentioned while mentioning the achievement of Oyo State. We are doing that to be able to store food during the rainy season, so that by the dry season people will go there and get it at affordable price. That's what we are doing presently.
Olorunfemi. I am the project manager business support under the Strengthening Nutrition in Priority Staples project with GAIN, which is Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition. We are a Swiss foundation that was created to solve the problems caused and the sufferings caused by malnutrition across the world, which is why we are operating in Nigeria and we're working in Oyo State. The next question I have here is, how can uneducated farmers and processors benefit from the activities of GAIN? Well, this is an important question. So one of the things that we have done and we have learned while implementing this project is the fact that we have to leverage on indigenous languages. For some of our trainings, example, quality control and assurance, proximate and home processing, it was implemented in Yoruba because we know that the people that we are speaking to are people at the bottom of the pyramid, and language challenge might be an issue. So that is what we're doing, and that's what we have done. Next year we plan to develop training manuals in Yoruba because we want people to actually communicate, we want people to learn. We don't want our trainings, our programs to be excluded to people that can only speak English, because we understand that the program is for the bottom of the pyramid. So if it's just for the bottom of the pyramid, or if it's for the bottom of the pyramid, we're going to be excluding them if we do not have our trainings or we do not speak their language. So we have been doing that and will continue to do so. What we've also been doing to ensure that people who are uneducated is also to work with them in their local government. This project is implemented focusing on 4 local governments in Oyo State. So you have Afijo, Ido, Oyo West and Isheyin. This is not Ibadan, but local governments, Ido, Isheyin, Afijo. So those are the people that we are working with, and we are not excluding them regardless of their educational background. So that is what we're currently doing, and we are not just working in Oyo State, we are working in different states, working in Kebbi. So as far as the eye can see, we're even working in the markets. We had a project called Keeping Food Markets Working, right? So we're working with different individuals, trying to ensure that at the bottom of the pyramid, people are really supported regardless of where they are or their educational background. Thank you.
Of course, they've been coming. Even our first training in GAIN, majority of them came, and let me say 80% of the processors and the farmers, even the cooperative, so they are uneducated. But that doesn't hinder them from benefiting from GAIN. That doesn't prevent them from benefiting from GAIN, because the first training we had, it was done in our local language, so that it will enable all the participants to be carried. On the issue of whether we have or training or we have any program for women. In fact, I work in the Ministry of Agriculture, as I've said earlier, and in that Ministry of Agriculture we have a unit which is Women in Agriculture unit. There we deal with farmers, and we don't do one-on-one approach. We do group approach. So in the group approach, because the first thing we did was to form them into groups. Then we did group sensitization. Then after that, we encourage them to register with the government so that they'll be a viable group and they'll be able to access credits from the financial institution. Then apart from that, we train them. We have our block extension agents in all the 33 local governments. Then let me say, we have in the Agrarian 28 Agrarian local governments, but now we are short of staff. We don't have many staff again. Notwithstanding, we are still carrying out our activities, and our activity is to train them, to train the women on how to utilize crops, farm produce such as cassava, soya bean, and so maize. In fact, we have done a lot with
the situation of food and nutrition insecurity in the nation for a lot of concern. Cause for a lot of concern because the statistics that we have available at our disposal are disheartening. According to the most recent National Food Consumption and Micronutrient Survey, about 79% of people are food insecure, which means that they worry about where to get the next meal. Some of them actually subsist on only one meal per day. And we can also see the problem of skyrocketing food prices in the nation that is causing people to opt for less nutritious options, or what has caused people to reduce the quality or the quantity of their meals or the frequency at which they have their meals. So it is a worrisome situation because it has far-reaching effects on the health and development not only of children but also of school children, adolescents, women, men, everybody in the whole nation. When we look at the Global Hunger Index of 2022, Nigeria is the 103rd country out of 121. So it means that we are really at the bottom of the pile of the nations in terms of hunger. The nation is a hungry nation, if I may say that.
Good afternoon. My name is Yemisi Obe. I'm the Managing Director of ProThriver Stews Heights Limited, Nigeria. We produce pap in dry form, and our flagship product, the yellow pap, which is made from biofortified vitamin A maize, and that is majorly our contribution to the Nigerian nutrition space, because through the consumption of grandiose pap, yellow corn, we ensure that a lot of Nigerians who are our consumers have access to vitamin A in a very affordable form without having to spend so much money, to get vitamin A supplements and other supplements, for vitamin A. So it is already bioavailable in the product. And then our product has extended shelf life such that you don't need to change water, you don't need to be freezing the product before or defreeze before you can have access to your vitamin A pap. So it is there and very available for you on the shelf. And then our relationship with GAIN was the organization that introduced to nutrition as a food entrepreneur in Nigeria, because prior to then I was just doing my own thing as a food entrepreneur, producing pap in dry form. They were the ones that introduced the biofortified vitamin A corn to me. Prior to then I'd never even heard about it, but when they told me, I looked at it and as a food entrepreneur I have the opportunity to improve the nutrition of people in Nigeria. So I went to them after the NutriPitch program, which my company was selected for, to introduce me to where I could get vitamin A corn, and then they introduced us to Harvest Plus. And from then, 2018 till now, we changed the source of our yellow corn for the processing of our pap to vitamin A corn, and that is what we're still doing till today. And even apart from that, during the COVID era, GAIN also gave us a grant on the food keeping food markets working program. They gave us a grant, and they trained us, to increase our capacity, both myself and some of my staff, to be able to be better food processors. It has helped us, number one, to stay in the market. We're able to increase our working capital, which had been eroded by the increased costs brought about by COVID. And then we're also more mindful. We recrafted our vision and our mission, and we cascaded that to the organization. And everybody's working together to achieve the goal of ensuring that there's nutrition for every consumer of grandiose pap products in Nigeria. Thank you so much.
Okay. I'm Iroko Ibukunluwa, Dr. Mrs. Iroko Ibukunluwa. I came here to represent Green Innovation Center, GIZ, and I'm talking about the activities of the organization. Green Innovation Center have been able to work at the base of the pyramid on the field, and the activities they have carried out is first training, participatory training on demo plots of farmers in establishing demo plots on cassava production, and we refer to that as good agricultural practices. Good agricultural practices GAP has 5 modules, and the modules, along with also they trained on farming is business. All this is in a bid to make our farmers to consider their farming as not just at the subsistence level, but to scale it up to be able to produce its farm as businessmen. So in the modules that we have that they should do market-oriented cassava production. That is, they source for markets before going into production at all. What markets can they reach? What variety of cassava do that market use? In producing whatever they want to produce. Then after that one, they have to know the size of their farm, because we discovered that many farmers that produce, they just produce, in fact, they think if they can exaggerate on the size of farm they have, that is better for them, makes them feel as a better farmer. While in actual fact, they might not have more than an hectare of farm. They can say, my farm is 3 hectares. And at times, that makes those that come to mechanize for them to cheat them. So part of the modules is knowing the exact size of your farm. After they have known the exact size of their farm, they select before knowing the exact size of their farm. Then it goes to land preparation. Which way can they prepare land to have maximum profit?
Good afternoon. My name is Tubi Bukunluwa, and I'm the founder of iBasket Foods, where we produce and also process foods that are safe and nutritious. And one of the foods that we process is about fortified vitamin A cassava, and we also produce OFSP potato chips and also flour. And aside from that, we also train. Aside from the iBasket food, I also coordinate the Oyo Young Agropreneur. Those are the youths in agriculture, and we have close to over 200 of them in Oyo State. And this has helped us be able to reach a lot of youths in the aspect of training them on how to be able to plant and produce foods that are safe and nutritious. We do this in clusters with some of these youths. I've gained a lot from the trainings that I've attended with GAIN. One of the major things I gained was how to be able to process safe and nutritious food. I was able to learn how to be able to use OFSP to make things like chin-chin, different small chops. And after that, I was able to develop chocolate cake, which now week, I'm also going to be transferring that training to other youth that will be able to learn also how to be able to, process different small chops, different confectionery. And one of the things that I've already told myself is that, throughout next year, I'll make sure that at least I train 20 women every month on how to be able to process, biofortified food, especially with the use of OFSP and vitamin A cassava. And this is my challenge because GAIN has been able to train me. I also need to pass down that training to, a lot of people.
My name is Atinuke Lebile and I'm the CEO of Cattle Foods, a food processing company that's addressing malnutrition using stable crops. So we process biofortified stable crops such as vitamin A cassava, orange flex sweet potato, and vitamin A maize to address malnutrition and any other nutrition challenge in Nigeria. So we are basically food nutrition company, and the impact of our work so far has been so large because we've been able to help farmers who are in the value chain actors to cultivate biofortified crops, to support them with small loans, put them in cooperative so that we could have raw materials. We've also been able to adopt a rural area to see how our product can make impact in that community, to sensitize them on nutrition and also give them products, encourage them and involve in our processings by involving the women and youth in our processes and creating employment. And also we've been able to partner with health workers, hospitals, to see how they could include nutrition into their daily feeding. So far we've been able to support over 30,000 bottom of the pyramid with what we do in Cattle Foods. So far it's been good working with GAIN because GAIN has exposed us to a lot of training, business development trainings, access to finances, and even awareness creation for some of the things that we do, our products, some that we do. And through the SPN by GAIN, we've been able to also collaborate with our other SMEs in our line of business, that we could also work together and also gain more experience together from them. Thank you very much.
My name is Rashid Adegoke Raji. I'm a farmer for this vitamin A cassava, whereby after producing the cassava, I make the gari out of it. This is as a result of 10-year program of International Institute of Tropical Agriculture at IITA, to make it, instead of all the thing that is negative, why people don't take white gari, this yellow cassava, they make it positive. Part of the health benefits of taking vitamin gari is good eyesight, strong immune system, healthy skin, prevention of diarrhea. Most of the people who are above 70, 80 and 90 are taking this gari, who have taken gari before for the past 30 years. So after testing it, they find all this quality, and there's testimony to do all these advantages of taking this gari. But when you take it, it has more advantage than yam flour and all those things. So when you take it, you can have a tested of it. Most of the people have been taking it. Some people are using glasses, they don't use it anymore. And it is produced. You can have a retail of it. So if you want, I can be a wholesaler, have about 10-acre farm of it. I'm producing and packaging it, and it has gone some places like Britain, USA, New Zealand, and the Gambia. And this center will be attested to. And when you take it, a trial will convince you. My number is 0812-514-5888. So you can contact me anytime. is my WhatsApp number too as well. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Olga Novo Ugbebor. I'm a managing partner at Ikore International Development. Ikore is a development consulting firm, and we have our business divided into 3 key areas. We offer short-term consulting in research, business model design, and the other part of our business looks at long-term technical assistance, so essentially implementing projects that have both social, economic, and health impact. And the top part of our business is on incubating ideas. So we invest our money in identifying opportunities that can address the bottom of the pyramid, and we invest our monies to test those models with the ultimate hope of taking those models to scale by attracting investments. In terms of the impact of our work on society, we essentially try to address efficient models, design efficient models that reach the bottom of the pyramid with solutions, whether it's information, whether it's products, whether it's services. So in that regard, we're helping businesses connect with their last mile customers by being able to provide the efficient models and channels that they need to reach their customers. We also are good with generating evidence, which is used to engage both the private sector, the public sector, and all spheres of life in a way that helps drive policies as well as policy actions that will solve long-term problems. We've benefited a lot from GAIN. I mean, participating in this meeting alone, participating in this meeting has opened my eyes to a lot of things that both agribusinesses are facing in Oyo State, as well as the policy requirements and implications. And our first exposure to biofortified foods came from the research we did on behalf of GAIN, and it was quite an eye-opener, really understanding what's happening at the value chain, particularly as it relates to women and young entrepreneurs who would like to step up the chain to improve their economic well-being. And so I think it's been a very beneficial relationship, giving us the opportunity to bring our skills to join the committee of people that are helping push forward the commercialization of biofortified foods as well as food vehicles. So we are really grateful to GAIN for the opportunity, and we hope there will be future opportunities to continue to work together.